Kanda, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners for Custer County. This is a special hearing today. It's a hearing in effect as opposed to a normal meeting. This is Wednesday, October the 8th, 2025. It's now 1:04. And we'll begin this meeting. It's being recorded on Zoom and on YouTube. So silence your phones, please, if you can, and stand for the pledge.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads for invocation, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather here today to conduct the official business of our county. We ask that you watch over us and help us make managerial decisions that are needed for our everyday usage. We ask for your guidance and blessings not only for today, but for every day forth. We do this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Lucas. Roll call, Kelly.
Commissioner Kanda?
Here.
Commissioner Epp?
Present.
Commissioner Vogelsong?
Here.
BOCC admin Caitlin Womack? Here. And clerk to the board Kelly Camper present.
Okay, before we begin, I've got a couple of rules of the road here today because it is very important and it's a hearing in effect. I'll allow people to speak for and against the findings of the Planning Commission and on this tower request today. And so what I would expect is that everybody will respect each other here. We want to make sure we're going to give every person 3 minutes to speak for it and 3 minutes to speak against it. Be sure you direct your comments to me and the board here. And it's all being recorded for the record. Anything else I need to mention? And this is the only order of business we're going to do today is this discussion. So therefore, I wouldn't expect to amend the agenda. Any amendments?
No.
And we don't have any unfinished business to accomplish. And the new business is a visionary broadband special use permit that they've applied for.
You can do audience introduction.
And, oh yeah, audience introduction I'll do. Thank you for reminding me that. And that was, yeah, we need to do that. Okay, audience introduction. Let's start over here with Mark.
Mark Carmel, consultant to the towns of Silver Cliff, West Cliff, and Custer County for the broadband project.
Okay, thank you.
Brian Shepard with Visionary Broadband.
James Gilbert.
H.A. Buckwinslow, Mayor of Town of Silver Cliff.
Julian Crawford, planning and zoning.
Director. Okay, anybody online?
We have Brian Wagner, Eric, I do not know how to say Plesky, and Jason. And
Kelly.
just so people know, they cannot see you, but they can hear you.
You want them to introduce themselves?
So he did. You got Eric, are you there?
Yep, Eric Raplesky here, the president of Hilltop Broadband.
Okay, Hilltop Broadband president. And Kelly, did you get his name?
Yeah.
We can get Mark to spell it for you later.
I'll send you a text.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got you.
And who else is online?
Hi, it's Jason Mocha, CEO of Core Fiber Partners, and I work closely with Eric for Hilltop Broadband.
Core Fiber, okay. Core Fiber. Okay,
Okay.
that's it.
This is Brian Wagner. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Visionary Broadband.
Say a name again.
Brian Wagner, W-A-G-N-E-R.
Visionary. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, with that, then let's talk about next step. Then would be the Visionary Broadband Special Use Permit. It was unanimously approved by the Planning Commission in a hearing. However, came to our attention that nobody was there to discuss other issues like another broadband program that could possibly be impacted by it. Although I did tell you in a meeting and you didn't bring it up, of course. So that's why we're here in mass now to discuss this, and we want to hear all the fors and against, the reasoning and that kind of thing. And I'll allow a way to do that and have a description of each project up front here. And so with that, why don't we listen to you first on what the project is?
Okay, great, yes. Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to be here and present. So again, my name is Brian Shepard. I'm the Vice President of Network Expansion Coordination at Visionary Broadband. And what we have proposed to the Planning and Zoning Commissions and to you as well is the replacement of an existing tower. So currently we have a communications tower located at the Riggs Family Farm, about southwest of town. And that has been on their property for a while now, I believe over 10 years. And it was put there by previous companies that we have that have been acquired and so forth, and that we acquired recently. Aristata Communications was the most recent incantation of those companies. So we inherited this tower situation from them. And when we purchased the company, one of the first things we did was look at all of their tower infrastructure and say what needs to be upgraded, what's up to our standards, what's not. And this one, this tower came to note as it doesn't really meet our standards. At the same time, the Riggs family contacted us and said, we really don't want this on our property anymore. I believe they have a lot of kids out there. They do some future farmers activities, some 4-H activity out there. And it just kind of, it's run its course. And I really didn't blame them. And so we met with their family and their legal counsel and put together a plan. And we let them know that we actually had already started a process with Sangre de Cristo to look to place a new tower at the Sangre de Cristo substation, the Kettle substation is what it's called. And I already had a lease signed with them to do that. So we progressed with Sangre de Cristo, did all the engineering for the tower and so forth to do that, and we finally got that done. We actually got a grant as well from the state of Colorado to replace this tower and expand the tower, because if we replace this tower and expand it, we will be able to reach 100 new residences that right now don't have service other than traditional maybe lumen service or satellite service. So this will add broadband service to 100 new residents, and then we'll be able to upgrade service to approximately 800 residents. Right, basically, the tower right now can't handle the modern equipment, and so the equipment on there is very old. And so the new tower will allow us to upgrade the equipment and upgrade existing customers and offer better service to folks in that area. So that really is the crux of this project, is to do that. The Riggs family has been very, very patient with us. Our concern is that at some point their patience will run out, and they will ask us to basically terminate the lease and get off the property, to put it bluntly, at which time we would have to comply with. So if this new tower is not approved, then at some point, probably in the foreseeable future, we will have to terminate our service to those folks in that area, and then the people on the kind of the western side of the community will be really only have satellite as a viable option for them. So
Okay. Good job, that's 3 minutes.
Oh, I apologize, I didn't realize you wanted me to keep it to 3, so.
Well, if you can, comment right now. We can get some clarification. One of them is the address is Hermit and what? Where is the location of the tower?
Herb
So
and,
for the record.
and let me pull my map up here. I believe it's Kettle and Hermit, I believe.
Okay. And
Kettle and Herm be where the power station's
Transformer
at,
station.
it's right there.
Yeah, yes, the tower would actually be in the substation property.
okay, and the other one to clarify too is you have a contract with the Riggs and it ends December of what?
Well, the contract is kind of ongoing, but there are ways that they can get out of the contract, and they've signaled they would do for that in that contract. So really, the timing, is going to kind of if we're
Make it really clear, because the other day you told us that, and Darryl Riggs personally said it was the end of December of 26.
Yes, that's when the lease goes up through, but there are mechanisms that they could terminate the lease
Earlier.
yes.
Okay, that's clarification, thank you.
Yes.
Clarification.
I have one more question on that. Is the current tower, what's the area? Do you have the how many miles or how many yards, feet?
It's basically, it's the old windmill shed, essentially. So what they did is they converted the old windmill shed from the original family farm and kind of beefed it up a little bit and placed some equipment on there. So that's what the footprint is maybe on the ground, it's probably 8 by 10.
No, I'm
There's a
talking
shed
about
at the
the
bottom.
actual, the van itself.
The service range?
Correct, you said you're gonna add 800. Just wondered what the current
Upgrade.
area is.
Yeah, so the current service, if you draw a concentric circle around it, you're probably looking at 5 to 6 miles
Okay.
that tower would viably serve. And so right now, those folks we have existing customers off of there, and those 800 folks, some of those are already customers, but for those 800, what we would be able to do is upgrade the service to get much better quality service.
Thank you.
Okay. Nothing else from that? Okay. All right, let's hear from Eric.
So Commissioner Kanda and the board, Hilltops really has a neutral stance on this application. We do recognize that, through the PPP that we have with the county and the towns, that obviously we've been partnering to try to work on grant funds and to do the best we can to bring fiber to various parts of the towns in Custer County itself. In this situation here, we're not going to take a position for or against this project. In a competitive environment like this, I don't believe it'd be right for us to speak against this specifically. And if there's any further questions as we talk through any points as it might relate to future grant funds or things like that.
We're not asking you to make a comment for or against it, Eric. All I
Sure.
wanted to point out is what the project is today, how you got there. We had a competition. We have a program that's been going on for X years. Give us some details so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Sure, and yeah, so as I mentioned through the PPP that we were selected for, the purpose behind that partnership was for Hilltop to go out and seek out grant funds to build fiber optic in Custer County and the towns of Westcliff and Silver Cliff. And so we did that with some success in the second round of the BEAD program, but when it came to the benefit of the bargain round, when all those previous applications and things got wiped out and it went into a new round, we were not successful except for a smaller area up on the north end of town, the Lake Deweese area, to bring fiber to the county.
Okay, and that was after the competition. How many years did we put into this? It's been 3 years now, something to that effect.
About 3 years.
Oh, 3 years with the total. Okay, also, and you pointed out the broadband capability on the fiber was to all residents. How'd you state that? Eric?
So, the goal of the partnership was to, if we were able to procure sufficient funds through various grant sources and various match sources, if we could bring fiber to 90+% of the county was the goal of that mission.
Okay, and this is just clarification when I asked Visionary, a couple clarification ones also. So we have a grant that we've applied for. We were designated a broadband ready county and municipalities by the state. We have a state grant that we had participation that we're going to be partnering with the Department of Transportation to lay the fiber in the rights of ways. So we're bringing up the data out of Walsenburg into here, down to Texas Creek, and then from here down to Wetmore. So that brings up the question I need to clarify with both of you is the backhaul on it and the ability to stay up and operating. So I would like to hear your point right now on how that's going to occur with this program. And then we need to find out what the interference might be, and I'll ask Eric and our integrator over here what that might be. So how are you going to service 800 more people and what used to be, what my view was, it was CCOM that had the towers initially that went and had the thing, and they always had an issue with the one tower goes out upstream, then everything above that goes out and that kind of thing. So how are you getting around that now?
Yeah, Commissioner, you're correct. So the towers were originally part of CCOM, which was then acquired multiple times. So we currently have both a wireless backhaul infrastructure and a fiber-based infrastructure. So we get via service from CenturyLink, Lumen, sorry, it'll take a long time to call them Lumen. So here in town, we meet up with Lumen and have a POP and have a backhaul from there. In addition, we have wireless backhaul. So we essentially have redundant backhaul for our current wireless service. So we basically spec that, both the wireless and the CenturyLink backhaul, according to our customer base. And so as we grow, we can grow both of those. We do have plans to upgrade the wireless as well as Lumen infrastructure. We were successful in the BD grant to receive funding to build fiber in West Cliff and Silver Cliff. And so given that, we obviously will need to beef up that backhaul. So that will, and both of them. So we will increase our capacity with CenturyLink on the landline side, so to speak, the fiber side, and then we will upgrade our wireless backhaul that goes through Walsenburg and will eventually also go up through Canyon City to provide a redundant backhaul for all the
By way of fiber or microwave?
The redundant piece will be microwave, yes.
So you have a microwave funnel, you're pushing it through and then going fiber somewhere with the 800 people?
Yes, so we meet up with Lumen here in town and we buy the services through them.
That clarifies,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, I'm just following along. But to be clear, 100 new residences, 800 to upgrade.
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
And what year are you projecting that? It's a good question.
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
When would the 800 be completed? What's your goal? What's the
Well,
schedule?
if we can get the permit, our goal has been, we're supposed to complete the project by December of this year. Obviously, it's hard to build a tower in the middle of winter, so we're hopefully, if we can, come to an agreement and receive the permit, we are ready to go to start building the tower. The tower should take about 3 to 4 weeks to build. So we're hopeful that we can still get it in before it gets too cold to pour concrete and do all that kind of stuff. If we're not able to get the timing right, we'll have to wait till spring. This date will give us an extension in that case.
But that's just broadcast, that's not fiber to 800 people.
No, so the fiber project is completely separate. So the fiber project is through BEAD. We expect the NTIA to finalize those bids or the state plan in December. We would expect probably a couple months to get a contract with the state accordingly, and then hopefully be able to build by springtime. But that's not the 800 residents for this. The residences we're talking about for the fiber project through BEAD are right directly in town. So this project services the folks that are to the west and south out of town.
Okay. Mark, would you comment on just our program structure right
Yes.
now and who it's servicing and the history?
I'd be happy to. When we started this process 6 years ago, the feasibility analysis led to the conclusion that the best solution would be a fiber broadband network that would be resilient to storms. It would be future-proofed in terms of the bandwidth increases over time that are coming in computerization. Since then, since we started 6 years ago, we've seen now robotics, AI take off. We formed an intergovernmental partnership, you all did, between the county, led by Silver Cliff, joined by West Cliff. We solicited competitive bids for an internet service provider that would, as Mr. Rapleski indicated, seek the grant funding to build a fiber broadband network that would be redundant, and it would be also future-proofed in respect to fires and floods. During the process of this last 6 years, we witnessed the horrendous fires up near Wetmore, and then the floods, and that washed out all of CenturyLink's infrastructure that was in a U.S. Forest Service road there that will not be rebuilt. The people there in the Hardscrabble area are still without reliable communications other than satellite service, which is working well for them. And so upon the solicitation of competitive bids, Hilltop was selected, by the three governments, and a public-private partnership agreement was formed. We were able to secure 110 miles of right-of-way from CDOT, and we secured the letter of intent that they were committed to that, and they would execute the agreement for use of that right-of-way to install fiber, upon receipt of the funds. The bad news that's been a difficult, reality is that we started this in 2019, 2020, COVID hit. We had a cost estimate for the entire fiber network at 15 million. And then after COVID and during COVID, it escalated to 30 million. Now it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 million. These BEAD grants that both Hilltop and Visionary and satellite providers here competed for had a maximum award of only 25 million. So on this one particular grant opportunity, this was the Biden infrastructure bill that was passed with bipartisan support that created this money for broadband. That was well over 4 years ago now. And each state was given the authority to administer their own grants. It took every state, years to gear up and gin up a grant program. They've done that. Colorado went through round 1, 2, and 3. Hilltop and Visionary were the two main competitors here for fiber service. And just of note, and this isn't Mr. Shepherd's fault or Visionary's fault, but the predecessor companies that they purchased, starting with CCOM and then Central Colorado Telecom that bought CCOM, and then Aristata that bought Colorado Central Telecom, and then now Visionary that has purchased Aristata. Despite, offers and requests for proposals, we never received any participation from the predecessor companies or Visionary. I'm on a legislative broadband committee with Mr. Shepherd, and we've been following all this broadband work for a long time, and I've been encouraging, to get this tower project in. In my professional recommendation, okay, given the timing of everything right now, I still believe, and I believe that Hilltop believes, as your partner in this intergovernmental agreement, I still believe that the fiber solution, a redundant fiber solution, is a preferred option. This all started, as you may recall, with Mayor Wenzel of Silver Cliff, who had just been elected as a trustee on the Silver Cliff board, was working for the sheriff's department here at that time, and he literally had a murder suspect at gunpoint and went to make a communication on his cell phone to call for backup, and it didn't work. And that's the type of reality that I think the community here faces. You have some of the most...
Hold it there, because I'm going to get more into it, because we get questions back and forth. We're getting data in.
Of course.
Broadband capability, microwave to broadcast. What got our attention is the bandwidth capability so that you can support municipalities, schools, the towns, and do business without interruption like we get off of a tower. We started with a tower program a long time ago, and they were going to feed it with a microwave tower, just like you were going to do, instead of fiber, and then broadcast it, and it was still subject to outages the way it was, and that died on the vine. And now we've got a program where we've made a tremendous amount of progress until the grants all have changed now and we've reapplied and all that. What I'm worried about is the bandwidth, and we need to understand the capability for you to service a municipality, because what can happen is if we lose our ability to complete this, because there's already service quote, if from a state point of view, it says, well, this house in the middle of the valley, it's got you got 800 more people. Why do you need this program? We don't want to lose that, and I've explained that to you before. So what's your capability, and I want to hear what we got here on this one. Of how you're going to service the needs of the municipality.
I mean, as it relates to the specific tower project, or are you
Well,
talking
your
about?
plan, I mean, you're going to put in a fiber, you say.
Okay, well, I mean.
Because in order for us to make a decision here, we need to understand where to go, what it is, and how much longer we're gonna wait and get capability to do the big business, including what he mentioned down Hardscrabble, where we've got nobody doing it, so.
Yeah, so I think, first off, as I've mentioned, that, this project is independent of anything.
I get it.
We get that, so I think that's important to know, that, I mean, this is literally just a tower replacement project.
Right.
Now, when we talk about the grander plans for the area that include our recent wins, so we did win, essentially, we won about $3 million in the BEAD rounds to put fiber, as I mentioned, here in town, both towns, and then also a microwave fed fiber feed in the Rosita Gulch area. So those are the two areas we did. We also bid, as I'm sure Hilltop did, to bring some fixed wireless to the outskirts. Now, all of these grant programs essentially are designed to bring fiber to as many homes, but there's also what's called a cost per passing. And what the BEAD, kind of the holdup in the BEAD project right now is that the federal government is going through and looking at what the cost per passing for the different states was. And that's why we were successful with our applications. Our cost per passing is actually quite good for what we're doing. Now, when you're talking about the greater outskirts, you're looking at cost per passing of $30,000, $40,000, and $50,000 per home, which the federal programs as well as state programs basically say that's not viable, and that's too much money. So when you look at that and you look at our plans, our grand plan was to build fiber where we could economically, and then use modern fixed wireless to be able to offer services to folks in the outskirts of the community. Unfortunately, the state has basically said, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna let you build your fiber, but everybody else is just gonna get lower orbit satellite. We're gonna call that good. And that's, when you look at the state's BEAD plan, that's really what they do, is they put fiber in some of the more populated areas, call it good with lower orbit, and have said, that's it, that's what we're doing. So if you're talking about trying to get redundant paths to Walsenburg or Canyon City, that really wasn't the goal of these programs, and it wasn't how we structured our grants. As I mentioned, we already had backhaul with Lumen, so we will use that capacity that we currently have with Lumen and increase it. So if the school needs a gig, we'll be able to provide that once we get the fiber in. If your community needs backhaul, so we will be able to meet the backhaul needs of the community through our existing relationship and backhaul with Lumen, and as I've mentioned, also put in a redundant microwave backhaul, obviously not quite as good as a redundant land-based fiber backhaul, but it works well. For example, in Pagosa, we're the only provider that does that. The main line on 160 between Pagosa and Durango gets cut probably twice a year. Everyone goes down except for our customers, because we're able to backhaul them microwave. Now, is it full capacity? No. But do their businesses stay up? Do their schools stay up? Yes.
So they're on the same thing here. This tower that you're putting in with 100 capability can help the town.
The tower we want to put in is strictly an access point for those 800 to 1,000 homes.
Right.
That tower is going to backhaul directly to our fiber pop here, and that's it.
Okay.
We have other towers.
And those residents could be in the town, is that what you're saying?
Well, the town will have fiber. So if once we get done with
No, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about when you initially do it for the 100 people, you said it's gonna be online until you get a fiber.
yes.
Who are they serving?
Well, most of the existing customers are out there on the southwest side of town. Now, does the signal reach into town? Yes, we do have wireless customers in town here. We probably have about 10 towers throughout both Custer and Fremont counties that service the entire area right now.
Okay, and our capability
Well, thank you,
planned.
Mr. Shepherd. I think there's a fundamental policy decision before the Board of County Commissioners here. As Mr. Shepherd said, and as I believe you know, the federal BEAD grant is being reviewed by the federal government. It's not going to be decided till probably the end of January or the end of February, December 1st of January. As Mr. Shepherd also said, okay, the tower will reach 5 to 6 miles. The signal, because of the height variance, it's also considered with a higher tower, will reach into the towns of Silver Cliff and West Cliff. And I think that, number one, we have...
We'll stop right there.
We have two issues, if I may, to answer your question
go ahead.
real quick, and I'll wrap up. But there's two issues, okay? It's not only the bandwidth adaptation for the future of the internet, okay, and be able to keep up, but it's the resiliency during emergencies, extreme weather events, and that's taken out the internet here before. And so the bottom line that I feel, I don't believe that it's wise for the county to approve this tower.
Okay, well, don't give us a minute.
Okay.
We just want to, will it hamper our ability to get the grant complete?
Yes, it will.
I want to know how, and I want everybody to
If the
understand.
tower here's the conflict that I have, and I'm being open and honest with you, Mr. Shepherd. As you said, and as the BEAD awards indicate, if the federal government approves the state's award, Visionary is getting grant awards for fiber service within the towns of Silver Cliff and West Cliff, the main population center. Okay, now he's putting the tower, it's gonna be a high tower, 3 miles outside of the towns of West Cliff and Silver Cliff. I mean, the backhaul is microwave anyway onto a cell tower.
Well, explain how that affects our application that we've already got, that we spent a lot of money on. How does it make us lose that ability to continue our program?
Because if the tower goes in and the large population centers are able to be served off the wireless signal,
no matter how big it is?
yeah,
Does it matter?
Regardless, I mean, if they're all served off the tower, we'll never qualify for another grant opportunity because those areas will be served. Will it be the type of future-proof, resilient system that'll hold up to
Bandwidth-wise, is it big enough?
And then bandwidth-wise, I mean, I don't think the bandwidth will be there because it's a microwave shot from La Junta is your backhaul, coming into a cell tower. The supposed CenturyLink fiber, they laid a lot of conduit, but we never could determine accurately if they actually put fiber in the trenches. My only point is that it's your policy decision, it's your vision. If you want to try to have a future-proof broadband network, I think that approval of this tower is premature because the federal BEAD grant is still not going to be decided for a few months.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just because we're not talking, we're just getting
Yeah.
data right now. Is there any other information that we need from your point of view?
So,
Before we get for and against them here.
I've never liked this BEAD program, because first of all and foremost, it should have looked at every single county in the United States and said, how do we get redundancy? I have zero power over Lumen. I think that's wrong. I think that's egregious, and we go down at least once a month for almost a full 12 hours. That is poor. We add, no matter what program we add, if we're not adding fiber reroutes and pods to bring this, it doesn't matter whether we add LEOs or we add wireless, we're still struggling with our bandwidth on fiber, period. And if even our microwave backhauls are not working, because when that line got cut in Cripple Creek, the Walsenburg or the La Junta backhaul didn't work for us, so.
Shut down
that
everything
is-
in the town,
that
even the
is-
banks and the gas station.
That is huge, so we've got the county, we've got several businesses that have all started using Starlink as their backhaul because we don't have anything else. Our cell towers go down when we lose this. So with that being said, and especially since the BEAD program has changed and it has gone away from fiber, as I'm reading it right now, we've applied through Action 22 for a BEAD grant, you've applied through a BEAD grant, so Hilltop has and you have. Are you offering with your wireless, if this tower gets up, are we gonna be at 100 megabytes per second speeds, or are we still gonna be looking at 25 across the board? And from what I understand from the BEAD grant, is it at least has to be 100 megabytes. So if he's providing service and we get 100 more customers and they're only looking at 50 megabytes per second, or whatever the speed is, they're not meeting the threshold of the 100 that we're supposed to be providing by the BEAD grant, correct? Or am I incorrect on that?
If I may, I believe there's some confusion and warranted confusion on all of this. So when it comes to the BEAD grants are done. They've been awarded. There's no more judging of the BEAD grant. The BEAD grants are done. So we received 2 BEAD grants for the area. Hilltop received 1. That's done. There's no more BEAD rounds. Once BEAD is done, there's no more federal money. It's done.
The money's spent.
I'm sorry?
The money is obligated by that time.
Yes.
Maybe not spent, but
Yeah.
earmarked.
Yes, well, and the contract. So once we have a contract, so for example, the CPF, which is another grant program, once you sign the contract with the state, so we actually sign the contract with the state, so we'll do the same thing with BEAD. Once you sign that contract with the state, yes, money's allocated, it's done. But the decision of the state has been made. So the state has sent in their final plan and said, this is our final plan. As long as they don't violate the cost per passing thresholds of the NTIA is going to approve that. There's been no signs that the state did that. The state did a very good job at their cost per passing. So December 4th is when the NTIA has said we will approve these. So once the NTIA approves the state's final plan, that's when we start the contract phase. Now, those are completely separate. So all of the stuff about this grant program funds these locations and this grant program funds these locations and so forth, all of that is already done. So when BEAD came into play, all of the locations that are going to be served by this tower were already taken into account because we had an obligation with the state to do this. So all of those homes were already considered served by this allocation. So what we received for the BEAD application, again, was for the towns of Westcliff and Silvercliff. There's 800 passings that we received money for and will be required to build out fiber to the towns. And again, there's like, I think it's 90 allocated in Rosita. I believe Hilltop's award is for about 150 up by Dewey's Reservoir. So those grants are already done. And will be in place unless something drastic happens. After that, there are going to be no more federal grant programs. The money for broadband has dried up. There will be a small state program that will remain. Unfortunately, its input stream is dwindling drastically because it's based on voice communication, voice services, which no one uses old-fashioned voice anymore. So that grant fund is going to be drawing down and really isn't going to be that big to make a huge impact on those programs. So from the perspective of, being considered served, your community will already be considered served based on the outcome of the BEAD program
For that,
Not this tower.
for that requirement, we understand.
Yes.
However, we have a program that's been approved, and it still is, and it's for the areas that we just talked about, including big capability in the towns and municipalities and the county government. So I want to know, we have an application in process still. We got caught in all the kabuki dancing, the elections changed, federal government wants to change their grants, and we're waiting for that to happen. And so I just want to make sure, I don't care if you continue to do what you're doing, as long as it doesn't interfere with us making sure we get the big picture served here and timely, because we've been through a lot of it already. And we've got the governor's signature on a piece of paper that says we've got it, and it isn't changed and not taken away from us. Now, whether we get how the grants fall out and how much support we get from Hilltop personally, you know, some of the grants are going to be matched, going to have to be a match in here as well. So I would like to hear that point of view from Eric first, and then Mark can chime in later. On Eric, you know, you are our contractor, and you have the big picture on what we got planned, you and your boss, on supporting the future here as we get a notification of what kind of money we get. So can you add some color here?
Sure. You know, I think Brian covered pretty well the current situation and what BEAD is. And, you know, from what we can see right now, what we know right now, it's not very likely that the federal government's going to release a huge chunk of cash back out to the states to make things happen. And so that does push us back to the state programs that are in place. And part of that was the Capital Projects Fund that was funded by ARPA dollars in the past. There's still funds available there. There's also funds that are coming out, what, you know, used to be administered through DOLA, and now the State Broadband Office is taking that over through the broadband grant program. You know, as we're talking through this and what's left for the future of Custer County, you know, there's many other counties and communities that are very similar to Custer County across, especially the western part of the United States, where you have a very large geographic container that you need to try to cover. And then the density is only in these small pockets in these towns. And so what's happened in this latest round is, you know, Visionary was successful. They beat us out on a application on the benefit of the bargain round to provide fiber to the towns of West Cliff and Silver Cliff, and also that area in Rosita. You know, we've talked a little bit about redundancy and how that relates to Custer County right now. And I think we all know that, you know, Custer County has one fiber link coming into the town. And that was something we had tried to apply for in previous rounds under the Capital Projects Fund as well, to build it route, you know, out to the east or out to the south. And we actually had a, you know, letter of support from Lumen themselves, because we were going to finish one of their routes to the south to make that redundancy happen. The problem that we've had is, although these programs, even when they're designated for middle mile, a lot of the scoring metric was how many locations can you serve as you're building this middle mile. And so whenever you're looking at doing that in Custer County, and you guys know the terrain and the population density, whether you're heading north, south, east, or west out of Custer County, there's not much density along that path that we were able to put in successful applications, even under the middle mile programs, to be able to build that middle mile. And so that's the big piece that remains here. As far as it relates to this tower and it blocking any future funds, you know, there is a chance that if another program of some sorts comes around and those locations or households happen to be under the umbrella of coverage under Visionary's tower, that they might not, they'll be considered served locations. And so they might not qualify for funding for a future fiber grant type situation. You know, I don't have the coverage or propagation maps in front of me. I can't speak to the number of households that would be. That would be something that Visionary could provide to the commissioners. But as it stands now, you know, fiber is now coming to West Cliff, Silver Cliff, and Custer County in a somewhat meaningful way. We're covering the dense population centers. We're covering the Lake Deweese area. Rosita has always been an area we wanted to concern to get service out there. Now we still have areas like Hardscrabble and places like that. And those are those places that we look at that when we were going through initial rounds of BEAD, when we were wanting to put in applications for these areas, As Brian mentioned, there's locations that you start looking at that come up to the 50,000, 100,000, even, $300,000 to serve these locations. And if the funding was unlimited and the state had, maybe 5 times what they were allocated in BEAD, there might have been an opportunity for that. But because it's a competitive process and because they're trying to serve as many locations as possible with this limited pool of funds, I guess the chips kind of fell where they could based on the restrictions of the program and the direction they pushed us as providers to really push that cost per passing down to the lowest cost possible to benefit the most number of people across the state. And so areas like Custer County, in truth, do get left behind to some degree because those rules are fashioned to, if you have dense areas, you get good numbers on your cost per passing and those areas win. And then when you look at these further out areas from the town centers themselves, it just becomes really difficult to serve these and to still have that cost per passing coming in a reasonable level for the program.
Okay, thanks, Eric. So with that, Mark, I need to know, we do, that when is the next application due? And if it's worth waiting for to find out if there's any money or not, I want to know that we do, in order to proceed and keep our program, the ability to move forward. If we get the money somehow, is it possible still?
Right now, the only other big grant application that I know of that is still available is called the federal USDA Reconnect Grant. And there was 25 million available on that. I've heard that they're going to be phasing that out. I think that it's unknown if there's going to be other big federal or state broadband grants, okay? As the two ISPs have presented, there is grant awards pending for fiber into the towns. And that's the real good news, the population centers will have fiber. I guess what I still don't understand, Mr. Shepherd, is if you have a BEAD grant for fiber for the population of Silver Cliff and West Cliff, and this tower is going to reach beyond Silver Cliff and West Cliff, why would Visionary Broadband want to go through the expense of installing fiber to each premise when each premise would only have to install a modem to be able to get the signal on the cell tower? It just seems like it's redundant. It seems like one of them is duplicative of
It's not
the other.
redundant if they don't have the bandwidth to support a municipal load or the schools, which it doesn't sound like it does. So is that true?
Yeah, and I don't know, if you expect more bandwidth from the point of presence that you're indicating that CenturyLink is going to provide you. But, historically, our knowledge of CenturyLink is it was just a copper wire. They did try to install some fiber, but there's not a fiber network here. And the more traffic that you get on a network, the slower it becomes, especially at peak times. I think the fundamental decision before the board is if you want to select fixed wireless as a broadband solution or, hold out for fiber.
Well, I'm looking for the middle ground here that says, is it worth waiting to see if the grant comes through? Because if the grant doesn't come through, we're stuck. That's my point. We put a lot of work. We've got an engineer, we know what it is. We've got support from the state to lay fiber in the roads already, and that's not gonna go away. So, so when are we gonna know when that application, has it even been released yet?
It's a very good question, Commissioner, and honestly, I don't know. I just don't know if there'll be a grant program big enough or if the cost will come down somehow. The costs for broadband infrastructure have literally skyrocketed through the roof, and whether or not they'll come down to make it more affordable to install, I just don't know.
All right, that's betting on the come. Just a second. I did speak with the Riggs family. I talked to them at length about that. They are serious about getting you out of it, and they're serious, that deadline of the 26th of December of 26. So so if you say that you can put a tower up in 2 months, I don't think there's any issue waiting for me to see if this happens in 2 months from now, about where we're progressing with the application, if it's a viable subject or not. Because at that time, we can decide to go ahead and give up on it and just ride the satellites, or whatever, if we're stuck with it. And a backhaul there's only one line coming in here, and there's no backhaul other than a microwave funnel that narrows it down. Even with the bandwidth you've got, that's gonna load it up, it makes it even worse. So, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. So, first thing, the Reconnect program, is not for this area. The Reconnect program is for competitive ILECs, your old incumbent local exchange carriers. Most of those folks are on the Eastern Plains, like Pete's Telecom, Joe's Telecom. It's all the old non-CenturyLink ILECs that are mostly on the Eastern Plains. There's a couple of them over by Telluride in Dove Creek and some of those areas. So that program is specifically for those individuals. So the fact that you are a traditional CenturyLink LEC local exchange carrier means that the Reconnect program is not designated for this area. So that just to clarify on that. And
You agree, Mark? I don't want to go back and forth, so just.
No, I don't disagree.
All right, that's good.
It's changed since I looked into it the last time, and so.
And then, so the question about why would we put fiber if we have wireless? The easy answer is because we have a contract with the federal government and the state to do that.
That's wasting money, that's not a good excuse.
Actually, it's not. So we actually, for the last 2 years, we overbilled ourselves on wireless often because what we have found is fiber is a far superior product. Obviously, everyone knows that. It's actually also a far superior product for us to offer. Our churn rate for wireless customers is 3 to 4 times higher than our churn rate for fiber customers. So if we can get a customer on fiber, that person sticks for years and years and years. Wireless customers tend to come and go. So that's our entire business right now, basically, is replacing wireless service with fiber service, in addition to building out new areas.
I think that's Hilltop's vision too.
It's everyone's vision. The wireless industry really is kind of going through a lot of turmoil right now because of that, because folks like Hilltop and us are doing the same thing. We're trying to get people on fiber because it's sticky and it's a superior product. So, you know, again, I want to emphasize the BEAD applications are done. There is no more review. So there's no more, the application that you put in with SCED has already been reviewed. So there is no more reviewing of those applications. And so like I said, you are going to get fiber. This town is going to get fiber. Not as much fiber as any of us would have hoped, but you're going to get some fiber. And as an ISP, what we can do is continue to look and work with communities to build out. Once we get in there, we can say, hey, let's build out this community. There's a little bit of money here. There's a little bit of money there. Now, in terms of getting fiber up from Walsenburg or Canyon City, wherever it is, I'm going to be really, really honest and say that project is a Hail Mary. It is much, much more likely to get fiber with other folks. We partner with a lot of REAs and power companies, and there's a potential to do that. And to kind of emphasize that, I'll use 2 examples. I actually started the state broadband office in 2012. We identified 2 areas that, like Custer County. One was Wolf Creek Pass, one was Gunnison. Gunnison was single spreader, just like you guys are. Tons of problems. Push. Never got anything. The only thing that made it happen was when CDOT decided to pay Cottonwood Pass and do a major, CDOT, and we put fiber over that.
Okay.
Same thing with Wolf Creek Pass. Pushed for that for years. The only thing that made it happen was CDOT repaving and doing work on Wolf Creek Pass, and we finally got fiber over there. The only thing that is going to make fiber happen over any of the highways coming into your communities is CDOT doing a major fiber or a major road project.
That's true.
And that someone kind of dovetails in.
guy, because I need Hilltop to make a comment. We already have permission from CDOT to run the fiber up on the right of way on Hartstrap, in that right of way already.
Well, we can too. So CDOT's changed their the way they work. I can go down tomorrow and put my application in for a right-of-way permit on any of the highways.
I don't know if that's true or not, but.
They did change it in 2020, end of 2020.
But they left our license, so to speak, in place, what I understood, for us to use. Anyway, I'm gonna let Eric talk about that, and then we'll move on and get opinion here. Eric, can you help us on that, any?
Yeah, I think as I was talking about and Brian called it the Hail Mary, that's really, I don't want to say the last piece for Custer County, but the last immediate need as we start talking about what's been awarded from grants and what remains to be done for Custer County is to find some sort of redundant path out of town. And, just like Brian's been talking about working with REAs, co-ops, or transmission authorities to bring another fiber path in, or if it's completing a short stretch on the south end of the county to connect into some fiber or some conduits that are already there. There is some opportunity there. We hope that some grant funds are going to enable that. We hope that these future grant programs are going to focus more on the middle mile and these redundant fiber paths versus serving locations, now that many of the locations will be considered served by this latest program. And as far as, the CDOT right away issue, at the time before CDOT had developed their new guidelines and rules, we had gone to them and worked with the governor's office, the broadband office, and CDOT as well to come up with a plan where, we would provide some services or things in kind and as a, component of the match as part of these programs as well. But as far as, permitting as it is now, as long as you're meeting CDOT specs, they have rates and agreements that are predefined now.
Okay, stop there. So given that, it sounds like you're saying that what we thought was a right-of-way that we have that's still valid from the old program that they granted us, do we not have the right for that any longer, Mark?
We still have the letter of intent for the use of that right of way, and that was under the old system where it was an unsolicited proposal. That was contingent on us getting the funds for the project. Right. And
okay, so stop. So given that, Eric, what's your recommendation then? Is it worth waiting to see if we get the funds or not? Because it could happen. Or not.
I don't see any changes to the funding landscape at this point. And so waiting or not waiting at this point probably doesn't make much of a difference. I think the programs that are in front of us is what's in front of us. We'll see into probably the middle of next year what happens with more of the state funds that might be available for this middle mile. But that's the approval of yes or no on this tower project is not going to affect those middle mile projects we're talking about.
Okay. You have any questions?
The only point I'm gonna make is CDOT doesn't have any work planned on 69 for at least the next decade or more. They have clawed back every dime to make up their deficiencies. Right. So I would imagine they'll do that with the rest of these grants as well, until we can start fighting as rural counties on a state level and go, enough is enough, we need some help.
You got any comment?
I have a question. We talked about weather, fire, and flooding. What about power outage and EMP? Will we just be in the dark if any of those happen?
That's a really complicated question. So obviously the fiber infrastructure is not really susceptible to weather, just like the copper. So in that element, no. If you get a lightning strike on this tower, would that tower probably go down? Yes. Would that affect the entire network? No, it would affect those customers. If there's some kind of massive explosion or issue at the Lumen hub here, the county building, obviously, yeah, that's going to be a big deal. Again, that's why we implement our wireless backhaul as well, is because while not perfect, it kind of gets that rule of 95% perfect, because we can get the microwave up to a 10 gig backhaul. which would suffice for this area in terms of a backup. Whether it's an hour or like you said, maybe the lumen thing goes down for 12 hours. We can roll that over to our 10 gig microwave backhaul and still provide the citizens, the community, the schools, the county, the bandwidth to operate. Are you operating at 100% capacity? Maybe not, depends on the day and the time, but you would at least be able to continue to operate and function. So that's kind of what we are offering, is that in these same communities that we've done this over and over again, where we realize the fiber backhaul, the redundant fiber is, as Eric said, that is the idea, and now you guys all know that. It's not viable right at this moment. What we can do at this moment is provide you a high-quality microwave backup to multiple areas, not just Walsenburg. As I mentioned, we're going to go to Canyon City. We're building at Canyon City right now. So that if the fiber does go down, whether it be an EMP or fiber or whatever, the microwave can pick that up and provide the service to the communities. So a long answer to your question, as I said, when you look at a network is made up of all kinds of different pieces and elements. Some are susceptible to fire, some are not. Some are susceptible to lightning strikes, some are not. So you build your network with as much robustness as you can to factor in each element of that network, what's it susceptible to, and you build in your redundancies as best you can.
Okay.
Thank you.
You brought up a point there, I'll clarify, and then we'll see how the public, what our comments are. You're building out Canyon City, what does that mean? A tower on Lock Mountain coming in here? How are you gonna get that redundancy?
Luke,
Yes, so currently we have a tower on Deer Mountain that services the folks kind of in Fremont County and some of the northern Custer County. We're building out fiber in Canyon City, but we also just purchased another wireless ISP out of Canyon City to kind of hit some of the areas. One of the grants we also received from BEAD was to upgrade our wireless infrastructure so that we can cover some of the folks in Florence and that surrounding area. And so we will be upgrading some towers with that. So what we're going to be doing is from our tower at Deer Mountain, we'll be able to relay down into the Canyon City, Florence area with that.
What's the timing on it?
That project is probably going to be end of 26 into 27, to be honest, right now. But again, we have our existing wireless backhaul to Walsenburg that we're upgrading as we speak. So that's kind of.
Yeah, but if the tower goes out, you'll lose it.
Yes, obviously, yeah. Well, no, if the tower goes out, but then we have, basically you're looking at, does your fiber go down at the same time your microwave wireless backhaul goes down? The odds of that happening, when you look at it technical, is about, less than 1%.
What influence do you have over there? You add 800 more customers in the two towns, and we have an outage a month. I have zero influence. I can't make a call. There is no, so when they go out, what's your influence over going, hey, I got paying customers and I don't have service? I mean, Hilltop's in the same situation.
It's a fantastic question, Richard, and I wish I could tell you I had a lot more influence over Lumen. There really isn't anyone anymore that has a lot of influence on Lumens. The one thing we do have is an SLA. So we have a service level agreement. As I mentioned, we buy backhaul from them. We will upgrade that backhaul purchase as we increase so that the capacity is there that you're talking about. So if they violate our SLA, we have the power of money to be able to say you owe us. But in the grand scheme of things,
Not much.
not much.
Okay, thank you.
Good?
Good.
I'll open it up to the floor here you can speak forward. Let's speak forward to this first.
Can I ask for some clarification
Sure.
before I make my decision? One is you're talking about waiting to see if a grant application gets approved. What's the source of the money?
It's the federal government, it was the Infrastructure Act.
Okay, that's all I need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, second question. In terms of the tower under discussion's coverage of the towns, I think I heard you mention that there may be some residences in town that may have access to signals from that tower, but in the additional 100, it's more to the west, and the existing 800 are to the south and west.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not an omni signal,
It is, so
so it should impact, well, West Cliff and Silver Cliff Town.
the tower is designed primarily to serve the folks outside of town, to the south and the west of town. To your point, we put antennas everywhere. There's also folks kind of to the north of town that, you know, that way that the signal will hit. So, but the project is designed for a very specific area. We're using some of our own money to add to that upgrade. So the state has given us the grant to say, here's we're gonna give you X amount to make sure these folks get upgraded and these folks actually get service. Now, we're gonna spend our own money to upgrade some of the other stuff so that customers to the north of town, and potentially, you know, in town.
So that happens before the fiber goes in,
Yes, yes.
and that happens after the 100 in, or, I'm sorry, I'm croaking. And that happens when you put up the initial tower and it's only gonna serve 100 people.
Well, the grant was, the source of the grant, so basically the state said there's 100 people
I'm
out
just
there.
looking for timing.
So the timing, yes, so basically, as soon as we can build the tower, it will take us not too long to move all the equipment over and get everything done.
And the
So
100 people are south of there.
the 100 people are kind of basically due west. It's really that group of folks
Okay,
that are to the west, a little bit to the north and south, that are tucked right up against the foothill, you know, the foothills there.
okay. Any other clarification? But
Okay, just a couple things and I'll try and do it real quick. So have the BEAD grants been awarded and is this a done deal? Because I've been looking at the distribution for Custer County on who gets what. So my first question is this a done deal? Has Visionary been awarded? Has Hilltop been awarded? Or is it still under review? Are we waiting or what's it? Second to that, my question is, we have a PPP. You're the chair for our multi-agency
that's right.
group. How is that gonna affect our PPP with our MOU, MOA with Hilltop if another ISP is selected?
That's my problem. That's what I've been trying to get to the bottom of
And then
here. Is do we lose
The third
the ability to get it?
concern that I have is Custer is still gonna be a third world country from what I'm hearing from both Visionary and
Hilltop.
Eric at Hilltop, in that we're never gonna be able to complete the middle mile is which we need right now. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna have the 911 Authority Board meeting, and one of our agenda items is we're considering putting all of our providers on notice for their failure to maintain consistent service and disrupting all of our governmental operations, emergency services, and things like that. So maybe it'd be better suited if, instead of looking at all, Buena Vista several years ago and a private corporation bought their own satellite to service their entire town. Maybe we could be better suited to buy a satellite for all of us instead of all this stuff. And due respect to Visionary and everybody else, but without that middle mile, and our backhaul, we're not gonna be any better now than we are.
And you're absolutely right, and that's why the PPP ought to stay. We have to do something
We
together.
have a
to
solid
make it
plan
happen.
for FTTP to service both towns with outlying in the county, and now it seems to me like it's gonna be selective in both towns from what I'm hearing, if they're accessible, and that's all I just, doesn't make sense.
I could answer your first question if I may.
Go ahead.
The BEAD grants have been awarded for the state of Colorado, and Custer County was awarded the following grants, okay? Visionary Broadband got the lion's share of the fiber, okay? They got a little bit of fixed wireless up in the far corner of the county by Wetmore. Hilltop received a small area of the BEAD grant that's basically the Lake Louise area, okay? SpaceX and Amazon's satellite services were the two other companies that received awards. I don't know if you can pull up that link, but it's a live link, and we could try to show you. If you click on that's, go ahead and, may I? Okay,
Zoom in.
okay, if you, for example, yeah, awarded fiber, that's what you're at. Now click in those blue clusters and you'll see that's visionary right there. And that's visionary. If you click in this blue cluster, that's Lake Louise. And that's what Hilltop got. Okay, now this is, and then go ahead and click this, awarded wireless.
I think, where the little eye is, Mark, if you, click on that little arrow there, Caitlin, there you go.
Yeah,
You can, and then where the little eye is, you can click that, that's wireless, and then if you do the satellite, you'll see all the satellite locations.
yeah, and if you, can you zoom out to get the, see, this is all satellite locations. And then if you zoom out to the county line up here, see, you can see the blue. That's wireless, that if you click on that, that's just a few wireless locations in Custer County that Visionary got. If you click on that blue dot, that light blue dot there. Actually, that other, that.
It won't let me click on
And
it.
see, so this is Wetmore. Click on those, can you,
The map can be challenging.
yeah, see those, there's a few little wireless locations up there that Visionary got. But if you could zoom back.
What do they do, roll
Zoom back.
dice and get
Huh?
this? How did they select?
I mean,
Crazy.
I think it's all, can you zoom out? Okay, now this is the county.
Most of the folks outside.
Can you zoom out a little more, Caitlin?
It has the whole county in there.
Okay, so if you click in any of these purple ones, for example, click in there, you can see that's the Amazon satellite services, okay? Then if you click down here, that's Amazon. Now click over here, and this is SpaceX, I believe. No, that's Amazon. I know there's some SpaceX here. That's not all the county right there.
Yes, this is the county line right
Yeah.
here to the north,
Can you come down?
west, here's the
That's-
south
that's
line
it.
right here.
That is the whole county.
Well, I know that SpaceX got some in there. I don't know where it is right now, but that's,
Where she's at now is Wetmore.
Yeah, Kuiper got most of the stuff, they did very well.
yeah, they did well. I mean, so that's part of the good news, is that according to these BEAD grants, the county's gonna be covered, and the people that would like satellite service will have to their SpaceX. They'll be able to choose between SpaceX, Amazon satellite service, Visionary, Hilltop, and, other ISPs are free to operate here.
So back to the question, is it worth waiting 6 months or not?
Well, I
For
don't
any
think
money
it's,
or not?
I don't think it's worth waiting, because, we have tentative awards for these fiber locations. I just think that if the tower gets approved, that's gonna circumvent all future opportunities, because the main population center will be served by both the fiber from BEAD and the tower. And I think that then it would take something like another visionary leader in the state of Colorado, which we haven't had since, frankly, Russell George was the CDOT executive. And that's how I became knowledgeable, because our original consulting partner, as you recall, the CDOT was very progressive and visionary, just like Mr. Shepherd said, over Wolf Creek Pass, they put in 1,500 miles of fiber. One of these years, we may end up with a progressive governor and a visionary leader of CDOT. I mean, as we've been hearing, the state of Colorado has spent pretty much all of its money and they have $1 billion shortfall. So there's not gonna be a lot of innovation coming anytime soon. But Mayor Wenzel, I mean, that's a potential solution that some communities are going to, which is a high-level satellite service. But I think the good news is you have two quality ISPs in Visionary and Hilltop that want to provide service here. You know, I have a feeling of heartbreak to a certain extent, because nothing against Visionary, but you put in this tall tower that's going to more than cover both towns. They're going to be covered with fiber as well. I like the redundancy, and I wondered, Mr. Shepherd, will you guys be upgrading that microwave signal over time so that that will be a stronger backhaul?
Yeah.
Real quick, so in terms of your comment, Mark, about being served, once we build fiber, it's served. So everything is gonna be considered served. Once BEAD is done, everything is considered served. There's no more, you know, the way the national broadband map works, if you have a single provider that meets a speed threshold,
What's the threshold?
you're served. So
What is that threshold, so everybody knows?
it's 100 by 20. That's what all these are. So all of the projects for BEAD, whether you were satellite, fiber, or wireless, you had to commit to providing 100 by 20. That's
25, isn't it?
What, 100 by 20? What, 100 down by 20 up? So everything in your community will now be served.
When you put your tower up, it will be 100 down.
What?
And 20 up.
Yeah,
You
for
put
those
your tower
folks.
in December.
Yes, so basically, the stuff we're talking about, see these little dots over here that are pale that didn't get any funding? Those are the dots that this project has said we will serve, okay? So the reason there was no BEAD funding for those is because they were already considered served by the federal government through this project, that the state basically said, we have a contract with Visionary, they have committed to do this, don't fund these areas because they're already served. So BEAD came in and said, okay, well, these other ones don't have service, so we're gonna give those to satellite. As Mark pointed out, we got the fiber and so forth. So in terms of looking and saying, another grant program is gonna, if this tower goes in, you know, we might not get access for something, you're already gonna be considered served. So any future grant
Even though we're
program
not.
depends on your definition of service. Will you meet the threshold? Will you have, we'll be able to offer gig speeds in the town. So people in the town where the fiber will be able to get symmetrical gig speeds, okay? Now, the debate about what is considered served out here, I agree with you. I'm very, very disappointed the state did what they did, because I don't believe access to access to low Earth orbit only should not be considered served. I agree with you 100% on that one. You and I didn't make those policy choices. We have to live with them now. So that's kind of where we're looking at here in terms of.
What do they pick up off of you that far out?
What do you mean?
How far from there your tower hit those people that are not served?
Yeah.
Are you hitting it at all?
Yeah.
You're hitting it.
Those are the ones that we have to, with this program, those are the homes that we've said we can hit those homes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that puts the load on in the choke point down to the microwave.
No,
If everybody signed up for 100 down, that can give them 100 down and 20 up.
Yep, we have plenty of capacity to provide that. Goes back to your second question about upgrading the microwave. Yes, we basically constantly upgrade our microwaves, just like when we purchase lit service from folks. So you mentioned Chaffey County. We backhaul everything in our Chaffey County area through a service where we meet Lumen in Buena Vista, and we backhaul them. We just upgraded it by 100 gig because our capacity is getting up there. So we work with Lumen. We said we need more capacity, so we will continue to do the same thing here. So we upgrade our microwaves. Yeah.
His point was satellite. If we decide that as the towns on our program to migrate like they did, is that possible? Well, so are we going to be able to get the bandwidth we need to do the municipalities and a better job, just like Vista did?
Through our project?
No, I'm talking, is that feasible technically? You're telling us it's not.
I don't believe, and we actually have an agreement with the town of Buena Vista, and we provide services to the town of Buena Vista, so I'm not quite sure what you're referencing, sir, but, yeah, we have a good relationship with them, and are building out the town right now, and have been building it out. I personally don't believe for a community, to commit to saying we're gonna turn our entire community off Lower Orbit satellite. I don't think that's very viable, because what happens with low Earth orbit satellite, as basically there's a fixed bandwidth. You talk about bandwidth. A low Earth orbit satellite cluster is designed to service so many folks, so many homes. There's actually a lot of homes, places in Colorado you can no longer sign up for Starlink because it's essentially a number of homes per square mile. And so if you've got folks, the same satellite cluster obviously is going to serve the outskirts that serves the town. So if you've got a satellite cluster that is serving this, and you try to say, we're going to put our schools who need a gig each in our community that needs a gig, no, satellite is not going to be able to provide that, that bulk capacity, especially over the long haul as your services increase. So that's my personal opinion.
Anything else about it?
My personal opinion is we're still gonna be a third world country without a backhaul or middle mile connect.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear either for or against here. We can make a motion. Right now, the motion is to accept what they brought forward for us to agree to. So that would be an aye to go ahead and put that in. So if you're in favor of the tower going in, I'd like to hear those people talk about it. Here, anybody here on that? Go ahead.
Right, and listening to the presentations, I originally thought I knew what was being talked about, and then all of a sudden I got very, very muddled, so I asked a couple of questions. The special use permit is to put in a new tower, replacing an old tower to supplement existing service and add a bit of service via microwave. It has nothing to do with the overall internet access of Custer County. It's a specialized thing. It's a specialized thing. So as such, Visionary, I think, has proposed a whole lot of good stuff for that purpose, and the special use permit for the new tower ought to be approved as the planning and zoning approved it. Now, in addition, just to address the other discussions that were being had, one, if you wait for funding that's coming from the federal government from anything out of the infrastructure bill, good luck. You'll die before it comes unless the administration changes. So I would say that funding is a pipe dream. Secondarily, Visionary already has money which is going to provide high-speed fiber service to both towns, including all the stuff that you need in important thing. And it sounds to me like with the money pressure, etc., they have more control than is being implied over the cable link. But they also have backup via the, what is it, backfill?
Microwave.
Via the microwave that exists going down to Walsenburg. So that's there. So in a sense, your desire for cable readiness for the towns, at least, is going to end up being in anyway because they're putting it in. They have to. Thirdly, we're now in a situation where what we're talking about is corporate competition with getting customers and providing good service to customers, and that, in a sense, automatically means the improvement of services over time. So I think, to me, the original question on special use permit obviously needs to be approved because otherwise you're going to have customers without service.
Unless they move somewhere else.
Well, they may have to be in a situation where they can't get anything
I
else.
guess. Okay, thank you, Jim. Anybody else for this project? For it? Approved. Okay, hearing none there, let's hear why not do this? Who wants to speak against it? Or is there anybody?
Well, my only
Totally,
closing thought is, I still don't understand how a BEAD grant is pending federal government approval to install fiber to the town, and this tower is gonna also serve the towns. And so if the tower is approved, I guess on the upside, there'll be more service options for both towns. And as the gentleman just said, I mean, Hilltop will continue to be competing, and as Hilltop has indicated, they are committed to building out their own fiber within the towns. And so,
so you're saying that that it's not gonna kill the project?
Minimum?
I'm sorry.
Are you saying it won't kill our project?
No, I am saying that. I'm saying that it won't kill our project because right now, from a realistic standpoint, there's no realistic expectation of the kind of big federal money that would fund our vision and our dream of the fiber backhaul redundant loop like we wanted. And as both Mr. Shepherd and Mr. Leplesky has indicated, the area is going to be effectively served right now and not going to be eligible for any more grants. Again, it's just a heartbreak to me because we're settling for less than I think we deserve. We're settling for 100 over 20 speeds when we know right now that the internet is taking off at warp speed and the bandwidth is going to improve. And as a wise man named Jason Mopa once said, a cheap solution means slow forever. And by virtue of the state of Colorado's, I think, lack of vision, in my opinion, you know, to do a robust fiber middle mile network throughout the state, that's what we're stuck with. A cheap solution that's going to be, the way it looks now, slow forever, you know, unless there's some type of a breakthrough in our leadership and vision, you know, of the country and the state. And so maybe, sadly, this is the very best we're going to be able to do, at least at this time. I trust Mr. Shepherd. I trust the visionary expertise. I mean, they have tremendous respect in the state. At the state broadband, recent Mountain Connect broadband conference, I mean, people that run the state Colorado broadband office were heaping praise on visionary because Brian Shepherd was the first Colorado broadband director, and that provided
Sure.
the office with some expertise there. So,
Yeah, 15 seconds.
you know, I'm just kind of thinking this through, and I appreciate the opportunity to comment. You know, I'll remain committed under my agreement with the towns in the county to help see this through. So that,
See where we are. All right. Thanks, Mark.
thanks.
He kept using the term, we're stuck forever at 120. That can't be. If you're putting in fiber, that can't be possible.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Commissioner, because I was gonna say, just a clarification, Mark, the areas that we're doing fiber will be gig speed, so they will have gig speed.
When there's a backhaul.
There already is backhaul.
No, but it's a microwave backhaul.
No, it's with lumen, so when we build fiber, we will increase our capacity with lumen.
But where's it coming from?
The existing, so lumen has a circuit here in town, right now.
But it's only X.
Lumen has backhaul fiber to Denver.
You can expand it, so you.
Well, how come we lost everything?
Well, so if something goes down briefly, they'll go down, but we will have our wireless backhaul. So
Yeah.
even with the wireless backhaul, we will still be able to offer those high speeds with fiber. The wireless is 100 by 20 minimum. Now, the technology, depending on your location, location to the tower and your line of sight, We might be able to offer you 200 down, but we have to
I get
basically
that.
say
I
at
was worried
minimum.
about the fiber not being able, because you've limited whatever technology you put in the fiber, the size of the pipe, the band, the number of customers, the need for big streaming, whatever.
When we put in the fiber, all of the big stuff that you hear about, the folks with fiber will have. They will have those speeds.
Anybody else speaking against, or he really didn't speak against it?
No.
Kind of neutral now.
Okay, then, therefore, we'll move forward. I move we approve this request.
The visionary broadband special use permit?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion?
No, I can say that I've shared your heartburn over this whole BEAD grant program from the very beginning. I realize, yeah, it makes sense to get as many users as possible, but we can put everybody on Custer County there, and if we start going down one day every 7 days,
You'll hear from us.
And we'll have to get to that place before the government, whether it's federal or state, will decide, wait a minute, we need to reappropriate money to give everybody more fiber. We need to do the middle mile fiber. We need to do the redundancy fiber. So,
Thank you.
Okay, therefore I call for the vote. All in favor of approving the permit, special use permit for visionary, say aye. Lucas.
Aye.
Paul.
Logos on aye.
Kanda, aye. All right, get the heck out of here.
Congratulations.
Thank you, gentlemen. I sincerely appreciate the time, and I really do appreciate the dialogue. I think this is good.
Yeah.
It may seem like, while you guys didn't get, to Mark's point, everything you wanted.
We got blood, sweat, and tears in this.
We are taking a big
And it
step.
was before 6 years. It was before that, we had the tower thing that we had
Smoke
the
signals?
5 years of that crap.
so how do we work on,
Therefore, I will adjourn the
Yeah, I was
meeting
gonna say,
before we get out of here. Let's adjourn this meeting at 20 till. Thanks.
how do we work together